Israel is at war. It's been 9 days since Israel was attacked brutally by the Hamas terrorists. Now Israel is giving it back to them. We have with us the Deputy Chief of Mission of Embassy of Israel to India's Ohad. Sir, now what's the ground situation? And when I say situation, I would like to know, in southern Israel, has all the Hamas terrorists been flushed out?
Yes, they have. After the first 48 hours, they were flushed out. The fence has been repaired, and all the security countermeasures are in place. But I think that's just a portion of it. I think that we are right now bleeding and wounded as a nation. I think there are families that have been completely killed off, wiped out. Just today in Be'eri, one of our kibbutzim in the south, they're burying 100 people. This is a minor community. About 1 out of every 4th person in that community has been killed. We've seen images, horrible images of the dead. I don't want to be too graphic, but just horribleness that we haven't seen ever as a collective, as a nation. And in history, we've only seen during the Holocaust. These are horrible, horrible images. This is a collective wound for all of us.
Israel's war on terror has been supported worldwide, including India. But few, or maybe a lot of human rights bodies do argue that your war on terror against Hamas will also kill civilians in Gaza Strip. Is there a plan in place to safeguard these civilians in Gaza?
There is, but I say back to these people before we talk about the plan, what's so humane about what happened in Israel? Is it very humane, the way they treated our babies? 40 babies murdered in Kfar Aza, burnt. Is it humane, the gang rapes that they had during the party, a peace party on the border? What was humane about their activity that we need to respond humanely? We will, because we're a democratic country. We will respond humanely. And all the civilians that are in the northern part of Gaza were asked to leave their houses so that they won't be hurt. And they've been given ample amount of time. Even though during the rules of war we don't have to make sure that we give prior warning before attacking a high-value target, we still do. We even do it sometimes contrary to our security needs. We fire warning shots at the building, letting everybody know that this building is designated. We send SMSs. Everybody understands the building is going to go down. Sometimes we lose the target because of doing that. In the last 48 hours, we've seen horrible things happening in Gaza as well, but from the Hamas side. When we tell the population to evacuate and Hamas blocks the roads so they can't go, that's using their society as human shields. That's also a war crime. And they've committed so many by now. I mean, we've lost count.
Israel has given at least 2 windows for the civilians in Gaza to move southward from the northern strip of Gaza. Is the land counteroffensive now inevitable? Like, we have seen the airstrikes in the last 9 days. There have been your forces at the Gaza Strip borders. Is the land offensive now inevitable?
It's first of all, yes. The answer is yes, on the whole. And yes, we will go into Gaza and we will do what is necessary to uproot Hamas. But that's not the only thing that needs to happen. There also needs to be a long-term solution. So uprooting them from the north of the Strip is not enough. There needs to be a comprehensive treatment of terrorism, of Islamic radical fundamental terrorism coming from Gaza. Also, if it proliferates to the northern border, then that will be dealt with as well. We can't tolerate another one of these attacks. Once is enough, more than enough. Should never have happened, but now that we are here, we will make sure that it never happens again.
What if I may ask, this war, today, tomorrow, someday it will become multi-front. We have seen rockets now being fired already from Lebanon and on the northern borders of Israel. Syria and other countries in the region is also gearing up. Is Israel ready for a multi-front war now?
This is our reality. We're in a multi-front scenario at all times. Iran is a far away front, but it's still a front. They are the ones who supplied arms. They are the ones who trained. They are the ones who made sure that we are surrounded by enemies from Lebanon with Hezbollah and from the south with Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hamas. They are the ones that are transferring arms into Syria at all times. They are on our borders all the time. We are in a multi-pronged, multi-front scenario at all times. We hope that it doesn't become an all-out war with all of these countries, the 3 countries that I mentioned, but if it does, the IDF is ready. I mean, you can catch us off guard once, not more than that.
So when it comes to catching you off guard, we saw what happened on Saturday. But now when we are talking about the 9th day, the countries in the West Asia region, be it Saudi Arabia, which you have a deal with recently, or with other countries, be it Qatar, be it Iran, or be it the OIC countries in general. They have called in an emergency extraordinary meeting on Wednesday as well. They are now trying to corner Israel. How do Israel see it, and what's the plan in action for that?
Well, with Saudi Arabia, by the way, the normalization process has just begun. It's not signed. What they did allow us is to travel through their airspace, which was a good move, and we hope to see that normalization happen eventually. They are an important part of our region. Iran is a different topic. I'll say a word about it. But before that, look at the positive as well. We have condemnations coming from countries that in the past we couldn't even imagine receiving condemnations. Look at the UAE statement. We have imams around the world who are moderate and sane and understand that Islam doesn't need to be a religion utilized by terrorists, saying that they denounce the actions of Hamas, that these are not the actions of Muslims everywhere. And we also have radicals like Iran, who is not a Sunni state, who is not even an Arabic state, who are trying to inflame the whole region, who are trying at all times to export war, who are trying at all times to murder. They are the only regime on the planet that allows itself to say they want to eradicate Jews past the Holocaust, and they are getting away with it. Free pass. And this cannot be tolerated as well. We can see their hands in everything and their fingers in everything that happens in our region, and it's all negative, never positive from them.
Ohad, when we talk about Iran, you also mentioned that since day one, Israel has been saying, we heard from the ambassador as well, that Iran is behind these attacks. Just over the weekend, we saw Iranian foreign minister meeting the political chief of Hamas and making a provocative statement that if Israel doesn't stop, this will change the geography and geopolitics of the whole region. Even the political maps will change. How do you see that?
Far be it from me to give advice to the Iranian regime. I will say that Israel will defend itself as much as necessary, and if that includes taking out capacities way beyond our border, that will happen as well. They shouldn't threat. They're not in a position to threat anyone. They should mind their actions, and their actions have been lethal, and that should be worrisome to them, first of all.
And that reminds me also, earlier this morning, US President Joe Biden, and US has been standing shoulder to shoulder to you. We have seen Antony Blinken as well as Lloyd Austin visiting Israel, making statements that showcases that it's an unconditional support. But Joe Biden also went on to say that if Israel plans to occupy Gaza, now it will be not good. It will be basically not something that the world would like. How would you say to that?
I saw that statement. The American support to Israel is unequivocal. It's great support. It's the most important support we have. Uprooting of Hamas is the target now. That is the only target now. If Hezbollah makes itself a second target, then we'll deal with that as well. But right now there is one target. It's removing Hamas from the Gaza Strip, making sure that they don't perpetuate any of these atrocities ever again, ever again. They're vile and they're beastly, and I would say even cannibalistic, because when you think about what they do, they are preying on humans. They're preying on their humans, they're preying on our humans, and they will be removed. I think that's the most important part. The question of what happens later, there are so many scenarios for what happens later. First, we need to deal with Hamas.
My last question, what's a closure for Israel from here? What's the final solution that Israel is looking at? Because when we spoke to the ambassador last week, the statement was that we will not rest till we avenge what happened since Saturday morning. So now, 9 days into the war, what's the final solution for Israel?
No, final solution is a bad wording. I have to say it has a connotation for us.
I stand
No, I
corrected.
understand.
I mean, what's the thing that Israel will like to look at once this whole war against terror ends?
So, as far as we're concerned, the scenario where we've been so far is unacceptable. I have a 94-year-old grandfather. He served in all the wars of Israel that you can imagine in those days and had to live through the rest of them during these days. And it's unacceptable to me that he needs to rush into a bomb shelter on average about 3-4 times a day. He lives in the center of Israel. He's on a wheelchair. It's unacceptable to me to think that the scenario will continue to be as it is, where he can't make it into a bomb shelter often enough. Okay? It's unacceptable that there are prisoners now in the tunnels of Hamas underneath Gaza City, babies, children. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that there are women that have been raped that are used as collateral by the Hamas. That's unacceptable. Until those things are righted, we will not stop.
Thank you. This was Deputy Chief of Mission of Embassy of Israel to India, speaking exclusively to Times Now. With camera person Yogesh Bharadwaj, Rishabh M Pratap for Times Now.